Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Slapshot Syndicate. Joining me, once again, is Brad as Emerson, and we have a full return of Alexander Ross.
I'm officially part of the gang. Come on.
Yeah, welcome back, mate. Permanently this time, yeah?
Hopefully.
Now let's get into Seahawks reaction. So fellas, mixed weekend this weekend, you know. Big away game, Yorkshire Derby against the Steel Dogs. I know you watched this, I know you want to talk about this a fair bit.
Well, wanting to talk about it is pretty much an overstatement. I mean, what can you say? The result speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, 6-2 in a game that we should have been easily winning. It was just, yeah, we didn't really come out of the blocks for that one. It was a frustrating game to watch because just waiting for something to happen, and it just went. All the time we was messing about with it, you know, Sheffield was just putting it on us, and to their credit, they actually played it really well. Just 51 shots to 27 on us.
Yeah,
how does that happen?
I saw the stats and it was quite damning for us there. I think that's surely got to be one of our least tallies of the season. That, you know, we usually do put some of the most shots on teams, but to see 27 and then answered back with 51 is a bit of a...
Yeah, I mean, our first goal was halfway into the second period, by which point, you know, we was already down by 3. It was felt a little bit anticlimactic, to be honest, but I think you said last week it's pretty much Sheffield's cup finals. So.
Yeah, it usually is, you know, for their mixed bag of a season they've had. I know we was talking before we started recording, but for Sheffield, they must have taken some serious wins against us this season. I think it's more in their favour than ours this season, which is a real shame because, you know, we should be up for those games as much as, you know, Leeds and Sheffield will be, with it being a Yorkshire Derby, but...
Yeah,
let it slip.
Yeah. I mean, and like I say, to Sheffield's credit, they turned up. We didn't at all. I mean, Matty can't have been very, very happy with that performance, but you know,
Imagine his reaction in the changing rooms.
I know. Could you?
I wouldn't even have said that's at the end of the game. I think you'd gone in at the end of that first period, and he'd probably tore into a few of them as well. And then even at the second period, you know, I know we've got to go back, but the game's pretty much already dead and buried at that point. We're having to chase.
Yeah, and that was exactly it. I mean, across the board, there was a few good performances, notably, you know, Bobby Chamberlain again up there. I mean, he did get into it a little bit, though. I don't know if you've seen the clips of that one.
I haven't seen the clips. You did tell me about it, though. And it was an early show for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fighting officials, wasn't he?
I know. I saw that.
Bad incoming.
Never seen clickbait like it, to be honest with you, but. I mean, from what I could gather from the stream, what happened was, you know, one of the bench actually punched Bobby whilst the game was in play. So he went back and retaliated. Him and, I can't remember the player now, got into it. And Bobby's obviously been sent to the box, but, you know, they're obviously chirping at him whilst he's doing so, and he skates away from the referee. Tries to do that again, and the referee keeps hold of his shorts, and he just gets ejected from the game. I mean, I don't know what these lemons were saying about him. Bloody scrapping referees and stuff. I mean, the footage is there. Dops reviewed it.
It's the end of the season for Bobby Chamberlain, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of his career. But Dops obviously reviewed it, and luckily, you know, they made sense of it and worked out actually probably the punishment fit the crime, so to speak. But yeah, one good thing to come out of the game though, Alex Kent.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, got his goal.
I think we should just highlight the fact that he's got a massive sort of following of Alex Kent.
Yeah.
Love Alex Kent. Not love strong. Really like Alex Kent. Alex Kent is one of those players who, from the start, you just back, don't you?
Yeah.
Maybe not you guys as much, but whenever he's been there, I've always made this full thing of unleash Kent and do this, that, the other, and half the time he's bouncing off players rather than putting them into the boards, but. Like Matty said last week, you can't deny his work ethic and stuff like that. The last couple of weeks when we had Brooks and Spursy,
his effort, his effort's there, and I wouldn't say he doesn't deserve a spot in the team. He's clearly in his place, and you know when Matty's sending him out there, he's doing his job. You know, I think with a bit of coaching and a bit more exposure on ice, he'll come true. But yeah, I mean he got his goal, so fair play to him. You know, the rest of the team should have been leading by example. Unfortunately, they didn't really do that. You know, Alex came on, assisted by Jones as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know Matty Davis said in his interview this weekend that he was saying a lot of the guys in the top 6 have been suffering with injuries.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you see the likes of Kenty and Jonesy coming up there to combine for a goal, that's exactly what he wants when his top guys are hurting and wants to try and protect them as much as possible.
Yeah. But all in all, pretty rough night for us. One to forget, and then we moved on to the game on Sunday against MK. This was a real big one for us, wasn't it? I mean, we was coming into this not exactly full of confidence, especially coming off that performance the night before, but yeah, what a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said last week, I've been having these sort of like little foresights of the weekend, and I said that they would probably rather die than give up that game to Hull Seahawks, and I think it kind of started like that as well. They was quick out the blocks, moving the puck really well, and just skating beyond the Seahawks defence, and like you said, they quickly got in there and took a 2-goal lead, I believe it was, on the night.
Yeah, I mean, the pace of this game was just something else, wasn't it? It was shockingly high pace, very hard.
Not necessarily in the most positive way in the first period for us. I know obviously we pulled one back eventually, but when it went 2-0 after a couple of minutes, me and you had a little joke, didn't we, where it was like, this might be a long night, this.
Yeah.
I think your dad said double figures, didn't he?
Yeah, my dad was saying this is going to be double figures, which, honestly, at that point, you just thought that they was picking us off really easily, getting so many shots off, and it was just like, oh...
The way they was using the puck and moving the puck, it was like laser beams, wasn't it? It was scary to watch.
Yeah, it was just sniping all over the ice.
Yeah,
it was
3.5 minutes in, wasn't it? It was 2-0 down, so you can't blame like your dad for thinking, oh well, this could be a long night for a Seahawks fan. Luckily though, we tried. We regrouped. We managed to put a few passes together and stuff, and managed to get that goal. In the first period, Owen Sobchak doing bits again. Was relatively quiet last night against what was a really tough MK side, but a lot of our bigger players stepped up to it last night. So luckily, we managed to come away with the point. Not how we wanted it to go, and that overtime was quite nail biting for us all, wasn't it? But
yeah, it was a weird game, to be fair. Like you say, I don't think any of our players covered themselves in glory for the first sort of 20 minutes. It was just, I remember going into that first break and I was just thinking like, this is tough. Obviously Matty said something during that interval, and we came out and we looked a bit better. Yeah. And I think it was we tightened up and looked a bit better, and they sort of, I wouldn't say took the foot off the gas, but they just seemed to sort of just let the game just play out a bit, and we started to find a few more chances and a bit more time on the puck, and also I think we got back to 3-3, was it, at one point? 12-3, something like that.
I think so.
We got it back tight again, and then we let them have it back again. It was a bit of a weird game, really.
Physical game, very physical.
I think that's one point that we made, didn't we, before we started recording again. The Seahawks get a massive reputation of being this bunch of blokes who are, physical, dirty, this, that, and the other. But MK are probably proving why they are where they are, because they definitely had a bit of that last night, didn't they?
No, I'm still really pissed off about them now, to be fair. No, honestly, like, you just watch it, and every time like the play sort of shifted from one end to the other, there was an MK player leaving a bit of a stick in there, an elbow or something like that, and some of the hits that was going in and slashing around like the goal mouth. It's just like, what are these lot doing here?
Yeah,
what I mean? I know you try and do what you can to win. Like I say, they'd have probably died rather than losing that game. Yeah. But they didn't even go for that sort of attitude. It was just like, we're just going to try and get away with as much as we can.
One key moment that sprung to my mind when you said that is we had a chat last night, didn't we? And there was a hit on Bonner in the third period, and you said, didn't you, if that was 2 yards to the left, he'd have gone through the door, wouldn't he? Yeah. Like, genuinely, the force that he hit the board with was crazy. You saw the board shaking. His like the board's there. You see his face hit the board, don't you? Like it was mad. The puck had already gone as well. Yeah. I get. Obviously, it's a physical game.
It was after.
We're not playing. We're not playing tennis here, but bloody hell.
I know a lot of fans have said it as well, but the officiating last night seemed really poor. Yeah. Like really, really poor. And do you know what I mean? Like, again, the MK players was giving it sort of, come on then, and giving it all this, and it's just like, you've been let off by the referees because half the stuff you've done, you should have been pulled up for it.
I feel like in terms of the refs, they only sort of really started waking up in terms of the Seahawks. And I know we're biased, but genuinely, when you're watching stuff and it's like, he's been given a penalty for that. Reece Edwards got a penalty last night. for getting headlocked.
Yeah.
Didn't he? You know, and then they said he was cross-checking or something.
That's what
he
I
wasn't
mean.
even facing the lad. It was crazy, wasn't it?
Honestly,
it was like third period. They started getting a few in the penalty box to sort of be like, you know what, let's even it out.
But the game's gone by then. Somebody could have been hit by then.
100%.
Because the way it was going, you could see players were getting frustrated.
I was very surprised there wasn't a full-blown bench clearance last night. There very easily could have been. There was I think someone put, I can't remember what it was now, but someone put one lit in on Barmer as well, and looked like he could have popped his shoulder out.
Yeah.
Didn't look in a good way today.
That might have been Spadder for again, that.
Yeah, and it just you don't really want to see that. But I think this comes from teams just trying to frustrate us. I think that we've obviously got a bit of a proven track record of if you get under our skin, we can grumble a little bit. So maybe that was their tactics. But luckily for us, we kept it together. You know, we're not really this team. We will engage when it needs to, but we're much more level-headed now, and you know we know how to manage games. So I don't know. Luckily, Bobby didn't go off on one as well and get ejected from the game. 2 in a weekend. Imagine that one. But
yeah, I mean, you know, we look at the game. We talked about obviously our lack of shots against Sheffield. On the night against MK, we both had 38 shots apiece, so a bit more like ourselves there.
Notable performances from Barmer.
Yeah, I'd say massively.
Hewitt,
he was really good.
Sobchak,
Hewitt was mega on the
Hodge
night.
again, doing all the usual.
How many scuffs
Bonner.
did Svek get into? I mean,
Throwing Hamill on the ground. Did he even throw it?
I don't know if he tried to give him an high five, in my opinion, and he just dropped.
Yeah. He came towards it with somebody who actually fancied it, and then all you saw was Scrappy Doo come behind with a face like thunder like this, and Emil Svek just turns around and high fives him, and he's on the deck. Unbelievable! That's probably the best thing that's happened to Seahawks all season. No offense, Carter.
Yeah.
That was absolutely brilliant. I think, to be fair, on the video I saw, we were about 3 or 4 rows up, and I think you can hear every single one of us screaming.
You can hear me do that weird laugh that I do.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
It was top draw, that.
It was class.
Post clip here.
But yeah, obviously we started poorly again. Was a couple of goals down. We fought back, and 50 seconds from the end, we managed to get the big equalising goal, which was absolutely massive on the night. I know the place absolutely erupted at that point. You know, we had a power play just before that. Nothing came of it whatsoever. It was kind of like, oh, we are going to get back into this.
Yeah,
obviously
trying to thinking whether do you pull Dima or do you keep him on the ice.
I was just going to say, Dima went in the box. We got the extra attacker on the ice, and the goal was unbelievable. Like, I don't remember it. We had like a little triangle, tiki-taka. You know, the keeper's on the floor. I think Hewitt just kind of wham back of the net, and I was just there's no right to even make that play and slap it in with 50 seconds to go.
I'm sure you saw the keeper's leg like fly out a little bit to sort of like knock the post or something. Yeah. But it'd already been like buried, like you say, as the full place erupted. It was great, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. Like you said, massive that for us, just to get back in the game, and 100%. Then that's what got us the point as well in the end.
Yeah, all in all, I mean, it was a good game to watch, but you know, 1 point weekend, our possible 4. It's a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but no, we've got to keep some momentum going and move on, get into next week and try and turn some points over again.
Yeah, exactly. Like Matty said, it's a bit of a humbling weekend. Back to reality. This is what can happen in the league. We're going to next weekend.
Onwards and upwards.
And now we're going to review the fixtures from the weekend. Starting with Friday, the 31st of January, another Yorkshire derby, Leeds and Sheffield again. They seem to have been doing this for the past couple of weekends, it seems. Yeah. Are we surprised by the result? Leeds taking it?
Not really.
7-3 on the night.
You know what? I was actually quite surprised. They went up, didn't they? Sheffield.
3 up.
Yeah.
3 up on the night.
7 back.
3 up on the night, and Leeds they went 7 unanswered to take the win.
Really
but foreseeing obviously what happened with Hull and Sheffield and how well they played obviously against Hull and took the win, you'd have thought they might have given Leeds a bit more of a game.
Yeah, I thought they would have done, to be honest, but I'm not surprised at the result. I was more surprised at how in the balance it was early doors.
Why do you think that they've seemed to have done this a few times now, where they go a few goals up and then throw it away? What do you reckon that might be down to?
I don't know, to be honest.
Inconsistency? Bit of youth in the team?
I
think it's more complacency. If you tend to get like a 3-goal cushion.
It's a bit of a weird one to throw that sort of lead away, isn't it?
They've lost a couple of blokes who probably would carry him from in terms of experience with Huey Haywood, who've come to us. Do you think that might be a factor in it?
Quite possibly. Like you say, they've got a lot of They've got a lot of younger players.
So. Yeah. Either way, 7-3.
Yeah, Leeds took
Can't
it.
knock it, can
So,
you? From
you can't really complain when if you continue in the run of form like Leeds are.
yeah.
Yeah, and then more interestingly, so we're going into the Saturday fixtures on the 1st of Feb. Swindon Wildcats against the Berkshire Bees.
Let him have his moment. Go on.
So it's now a thing that I'm a big Bees fan. So if you want to send me a jersey, size medium, I'm just going to throw it out there. Bees taking it 4-3 against Swindon.
Unbelievable result.
Wow.
What a result for the Bees.
I mean, they've had some real scalps this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have absolutely had some.
Everyone in the top 3, innit?
Yeah.
I think
Well done.
Anthony Russell, name drop there. He actually messaged us about that, didn't he? We put something on our Instagram story saying like massive result for the Bees, but actually, I think it's something like 11 points out of their whole 23 points that they've got this season are against the top 3.
Crazy
MK,
stuff.
Swindon and Leeds. What's happening there?
That is a
So
madness.
You're rocking up to these games saying we've got nothing to lose here. But, when Solway and Peterborough and Telford and all these the teams around you, when they're coming to you and you're losing by... I know, obviously, they had another... we'll get on to the next result soon, but, you're just thinking, if you can handle Jake the Snake, then... Do you know what I mean?
Anything's
Come
possible.
on.
Yeah,
Man,
it makes you wonder why they're down there, doesn't it, really? Like you say, it just seems to be... They're good at playing the top teams, but they're sort of...
Playing
real
up to the top
gritty
teams
games.
and down to the ones in the bottom.
They can't seem to get their game going. But yeah, they won it 4-3 overtime.
Yeah.
Great result for them.
Yeah, it's
glad to see that as well. To be honest.
Crazy, but yeah. So then moving on to the Bristol Pitbulls, Telford Tigers, 4-1 Telford.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I like Telford.
I was just about to say that. You've got a little bit of a soft spot for Telford, haven't you?
Yeah.
A soft spot, but it was also laughing when I said about declaring the kit. So it's not that much.
Yeah, definitely was, yeah. Just turn the
That's what
tide
you
down. You don't want to mess with Deacon Phil, then. That's the thing, isn't it?
No, we were just trying to instigate that fight. It didn't happen, but I still think he's the hardest man in the league.
Bold statement. Bold statement.
I'm just it is a bold statement, but I've not really seen anybody challenge him every time.
Otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Well, the Carter boys like a fight, don't they? didn't see Cameron Hamill having a fight with Fielder this week, did we? Shame that.
Yeah.
Moving on then.
Swiftly. Jinx.
So yeah, then it was unfortunately Hull Seahawks and Sheffield Steel Dogs, which obviously we've covered. We didn't turn up. We got a bit of a
Shocker.
bit of a beating on that one.
Never mind. Skip over that one quite quickly.
Moving on.
Milton Keynes Lightning against Solway Sharks.
Big
Washout.
result. And I know we said it was going to end up like this, to be honest with you. And I've said it many times. It looks a hell of a lot better, at least if you get one on your marker, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bad doing it.
8 zip. Not a good one for the Solway Sharks, unfortunately.
Not really much to be said about it, is there, other than that?
And then the final fixture on the 1st of Feb was Romford Raiders and Peterborough Phantoms.
Yeah.
A team we've been keeping an eye on because of them chasing Hull Seahawks in terms of the standings. Big one for us in the end. Seeing Peterborough getting beat 8-4.
Both of these teams, though, I think we struggled to predict this last week, to be honest, because they both can get results, and playing at this level of the table, you just don't know where it's going to go.
No.
I want to say as well for Raiders, they've been plugging away a little bit in the last couple of weeks. They've sort of go under the radar a little bit because they fell down the league a little bit, but with that cup final coming up in a couple of weeks, they're starting to ping a few wins together out there and building a momentum, which is what they really need going into that final.
Absolutely. They need to get the game going again. Like you say, they had a 4 or 5 games in a row where it just sort of fell apart from them and they was getting picked off a bit. So to get a nice result there, a lot of goals as well, which probably made for a good spectacle.
Definitely.
Then moving on to the Sunday fixtures, Leeds Knights, Swindon Wildcats. Hey, did you see Bricknell dropping his gloves?
I did. And it really shocked me, to be honest with you, because, you see a guy like that seeing all these goals and assists, you do not expect him to be dropping the gloves. And as a coach, do you want him dropping
That's
the gloves?
an unwritten rule, like, if you're imports. We've seen it with Emil Svek more than anybody.
Yeah.
There's almost a hypothetical thing there where you think he's not allowed to drop his gloves because the amount that Svek goes mad. But when you two said that in the other last night, when the video, he was straight off, wasn't he?
And I think, like I mentioned to you guys, like as a point of view from a coach, you're seeing your top guy throwing knuckles. If he throws one and it's on the helmet and cracks his knuckles or something, he's no longer playing. And when he's putting goals up or something like that, he's not scoring. Yeah. So you'd be having a little word.
I get it, but it's part of the game, innit? It's part of the game.
It's part of the game, but Central closing.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean? The D-man who's a trade.
When you're chasing the title,
when it happens that quick though, and it comes on, you've got. I think if you're showing willing to drop him, and he's basically saying to him, "You're not just gonna walk over me, lads."
yeah, I understand it, but a coach is always going to say, "I don't want you involved."
He's a bit of a hoss as well, Bricknell, isn't he? A little lad. Like he's a big kid, isn't he?
He hits hard as well.
Yeah,
Though,
those
thing.
punches
Solid.
didn't look nice, did they?
No. Like I say, he had to be dragged down by I think it was Perry in the end. Wasn't it? Who was
It was Perry.
He dragged him down in the end after 3 knuckles coming
fancy
in.
that.
Nah,
I'm all right.
I would be as well.
Don't
Get
want
down,
that smoke.
get him gone.
It was almost the coolness of him. He just sort of held him for a bit, and he was like, "Right, now I'm going to pag you."
I've got to fall on top of him to make it like I've won the fight.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little bit of a frustration coming into a 4-2 loss.
Maybe so.
Yeah, maybe so. You know, that was a big game for Swindon, really. You know, if they'd have got that, it'd have tightened up that gap at the top. And unfortunately, it means they've stepped off again.
Yeah, looked like a good game though.
4-point weekend for the Knights.
Yeah.
Notable that.
Yeah.
Keeping that pressure on MK, aren't they?
And then 1 point for Swindon, which is a little bit of a let off for us, really, isn't it? As the next team in line.
Very true.
They could have easily.
That's the results there, aren't we?
Yeah, they could have easily walked away with that one.
Yeah.
Then Romford Raiders against Solway Sharks.
Yeah, so it didn't get much better really for Solway, but they did get some goals on the weekend, which is obviously a good thing. But Romford, obviously, they did nice little 4-point weekend there. Again, as we was just saying, bit of momentum going towards that cup final. There you go.
Yeah.
Back-to-back wins.
Can't go wrong with that.
Fair play. Hull Seahawks against Milton Keynes Lightning.
Moving swiftly on.
6-5 overtime.
Yeah.
Still pains me now, but we'll move on. Berkshire Bees, Sheffield Steel Dogs. 4-3 win for Sheffield.
Yeah, in a shootout. So it went
The distance.
yeah, which is great. Like I say, the Bees, they seem to know to get in these games and, you know, a point's the point wherever
3-point
it is.
weekend for the Bees there.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive for them.
Now it's time your nose up at that, is it?
No, absolutely not.
No, definitely not. You just think, obviously, winning the night prior to that, or was it the Saturday night they played?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously winning Peterborough. No. Winning... Oh, did they play? Oh, Swindon, sorry.
Yeah.
Beating Swindon the night
Swindon.
I know. Beating Swindon the night before and then coming into this game, you'd have... Surely you should have taken that momentum and put them away. But then again, if Sheffield played how they played against us...
Yeah,
It would have been
well,
a difficult
that's why
team.
it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? Like you see how obviously Sheffield played against Leeds, got a bit of a drill in, then beat Seahawks. You didn't know what to expect out of that one, but unfortunate for the Bees. And then the final fixture of the weekend was Telford Tigers and Peterborough Phantoms.
Looks like a relatively close game, that. 7-5, Telford. That's a big win for them, isn't it?
4-point weekend for the Tigers as well.
Yeah,
When's the last time that happened?
I know. We said it before, didn't we? Like this season's just been wide open. Like you can't write any team off. Any team can beat any other team on any given night, and it's just proven worth its weight in gold. This league.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the noticeable thing there is obviously Peterborough conceding a fair few amount of goals. You know, they've scored a few goals this weekend, but 8 and 7.
13 goals in 2
You know what I mean?
nights.
That should give us a bit of encouragement because we've got to play them in the coming weekend. So
True.
incentive there.
Yeah. Well, shall we move on to this week's standings?
Yeah, let's have a look and see where we're at.
Straight into it.
So top in the table still is Milton Keynes Lightning, 40 played, 62 points. Second place we have Leeds Knights, 40 played, 61 points. So it's still a point in there. So it's nice and tight, like you say. One weekend and an odd result can really turn it the opposite way around. So still a lot to play for there. Swindon come up in third. They've played 41 and on 58. So they've also played that game extra and 3 and 4 points behind.
There's still not loads in it though, is there?
No, like you say, again, Leeds have a bad game. Milton Keynes, obviously, we could have turned them round, so they could have lost some points. It is tight still, and it could, really change quickly.
It'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Seahawks in fourth position. Played 49 points. Sheffield Steel Dogs played 42 and 48 points. We've got a little bit of a cushion there going. So.
2 games, to really play at, Obviously, as a fan, you'd think we win both of those games. I'm not sure who they're against at this point in time. So if we get another 4 points there, we open a nice, healthy gap and obviously move a bit closer to Swindon as well.
But again, we mentioned this in a few episodes ago. Look at the points difference between like us and Leeds, for example. They've scored 2 more goals for us, but we've conceded 50 more goals than what they have. That's huge, isn't it, really?
It is our Achilles heel. You know, we've seen obviously firsthand while we've been watching the games this season, but some of the goals we've allowed in have been like criminal.
Yeah.
Like you can have a bad night, but 50 goals
speaks, doesn't it?
That is.
It'd be interesting to see the stats on it. Like really look into that one. You know,
it'd be interesting like to have our entire fixtures, which we could probably do at the end of the season, and look through and just see where like at what point did we start like conceding a lot,
wobbling.
Yeah,
what happened around that time.
Yeah, it'd be
like
interesting.
In a league that's this tight, like especially as tight as it is now, it's very possible to be on the same points and goal difference comes into it. With that sort of goal difference, you can miss out on places that you really need.
Not even goal difference, but you think that 50 goals means that if we eradicate even half of them, we probably pick up a hell of a lot more points. And we're higher up the table straight away for
50
those.
50 goals in 40 games is 1 point odd extra amount of goals that we're conceding a game than Leeds.
Yeah.
And that's without all of our wins and things like that. So, you know.
It is a difference.
It does make a lot of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Moving on then. Sheffield Steel Dogs in 5th position, 42. Played 48 points, which we just said. Peterborough Phantoms, 40 played, 45 points.
Yeah, so we've got a nice gap on them, 4 points over them. Obviously, Sheffield have got 3 on them. And obviously, them taking 2 defeats this weekend has obviously kept that nice gap for us, with us only taking a 1 point weekend, so we're happy with that one.
Romford Raiders in 7th position, 40 played, 41 points.
They'll be eyeing up Peterborough as well, to be honest. You know, 4 point weekend for Romford there puts them 4 points behind Peterborough now.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so we've been keeping an eye on Peterborough as the one over our shoulder, but it could quickly turn again, and Romford could start. Like you said, there's a nice 4-team little battle there. Yeah. Romford, like you said, have just been going about their business. They've got the cup final, but they could easily be in there in no time.
Yeah. Solway Sharks in 8th, 40 played, 34 points. Not really on it at the minute, are they? Took a bit of a beating this weekend.
No, but like you said, they have to be really careful because obviously the next team is Telford Tigers, 41-33. That last sort of playoff spot there, they're still just between them. It could go either way.
Yeah. Then you got Bristol Pitbulls in 10th, 41 played, 28 points.
Well, I suppose you can't really write them out of the playoff position there. I know they've got a bit of a, what is it there, 6 points to get back, 3 wins.
Yeah.
It's doable.
Against teams around you.
Yeah, it's definitely doable, but we'll see when it comes to it.
Yeah, go on now, let them tell him why your team are.
My team. A bottom, as you like to keep saying. You keep saying it every week.
No, plumb last, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you keep saying. I don't like that.
It's only because of you, mate.
39 played, 24 points for the Bees. They've tightened it up a little bit.
I'll tell you what, there's one note there, look. Berkshire Bees are on 39 games and 24 points. So they're 2 points behind. They're 2 games in hand on Bristol. If they win both those games,
they've caught them.
They've caught them. Yeah. You know, to say that a couple of weeks ago, they looked buried, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we've just said there that Bristol are, they're not right there, but, you know, a couple of wins away. Could we have a little Berkshire Bees sneak into 8th place before the end of the season?
That'd be absolutely about that.
That'd be scenes, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
Unreal.
Especially with the way they've been playing against the top 3.
Why not?
Can you imagine if they do
Why
that?
not?
Because, you know, if they was to get that last spot there, they would obviously have a harder draw in the playoff route.
Yeah.
But I bet there'd be a bit one eye on,
Can
you
you
Leeds,
imagine that
MK,
at
Swindon, like, ooh, best be careful when we go play them.
Can you imagine that at commentary? We've been saying all season on the podcast, plumb last, plumb last, plumb last. Imagine that.
They can't win.
I hope they do, just to shut you two up. I'd absolutely live for it.
That'd be a Netflix documentary in itself, wouldn't it?
Berkshire Bees with plumb last on the back.
Plumb last! Oh, man, I love that.
Just so I can keep rubbing it in your twos first. Leave it up. That rounds up the fixtures for this week and the standings. On to our next segment. And now we're going to move on to our stars of the week for this week. Rossy, I think you want to start with our third star of the week.
Yep, so 3rd place, we've got Eric Henderson, Canadian import for the Telford Tigers. Pretty instrumental, I'd say, on the Sunday. 5-point night.
Massive that.
Pretty impressive, eh?
Yeah.
0+0 on the Saturday. However, you know, the stats don't always show it, do they? You know, and I think anyone who's going out on a 5-point night, import or not import, you know, it's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked obviously about Telford having a bit of a tough time and bit of hit and miss, results over the season, but to come in with a guy like that and he just bang 5.9, it's pretty big, isn't it? And,
Yeah.
we have to reward that and put him on the list.
Yeah, give him a kudos.
100%.
Okay, so moving on to number 2 slot, we've got Malik Martelli against Bristol, 2 assists, and 1 goal and 2 assists against Hull. Total 1+4 weekend
From defence.
from defence. Yeah, very very good weekend
Very
for.
impressive, that.
He could get around that rink, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He really could. Like watching him, against Seahawks this weekend, he picked it up and he just wanted to charge down sort of like, the flanks, didn't he? He
Pardon
was
the
gone.
pun, pardon the pun, but he was lightning, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it and then I
so
thought in
bad.
my head. Genuinely, that was unintentional, but like you say, as he was rapid, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was
like
very
he
good.
was. We was just chasing his shadows at some
Yeah.
point. He was gone.
And
Yeah.
of course, the 8-0 win on Saturday, the defence have come in clutch there, aren't they? So,
Yeah, it's a bit of a bitter one, obviously, with the result against Hull, but you got to appreciate the class of the guys. So fair play. That's our number 2 spot.
And this week's number 1 spot goes to Leeds Knight's Sam Gospel.
Yeah.
I've seen this guy for a long time now, and he's a joke. An absolute joke of a goaltender. I know he was a bit embarrassed a couple of weeks back by Jake the Snake when he sat him down and put it in an empty net, but he's come up big this weekend.
kept him at bay on Sunday, didn't
Yeah, so he got man of the match both Saturday and Sunday. 86% save percentage on the Saturday.
Yeah, look at that one for Swindon as well. That's
Yeah,
percentage.
Swindon.
In a big game.
93.94%.
Yeah.
It's that's mega, that, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? And when you need big characters, there he was against
Team-
Swindon side.
he?
That'll
Team
probably
that's firing all cylinders like Swindon as well.
And
Well, that's what I mean.
One goal.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
like so Jake the Snake we've mentioned, obviously his goal scoring prowess, and
Yeah.
Gozzy comes up clutch, and we've known it for a long time now. But Gozzy can win games on his own. We obviously love forwards, big scorers, but a goaltender can win your games. So
100%.
just like that, he's had a great weekend.
Yeah,
So.
90.15% average for the whole weekend.
He's always, what? How many seasons now has he been that 0.9% save percentage? It's just becoming the norm, isn't it?
Yeah. Like you say, you question it if it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Fair play, mate.
Yeah, that concludes the Stars of the Week this week. Congratulations to all 3 of the members on the list. So now we're going to get into our main topic, our big talking point this week, lads. And it's going to be a talk around the playoff weekend, mainly around the structure. I know we've talked about playoff weekends and such in the past few episodes, but we're going to talk about the pricing and such, which has obviously gone up this year from the £65. I think it's going to be £85 with the 12% tax on top, or whatever it is, the booking fee or whatever they're calling it these days. I remember seeing that online. I was just like, somebody's having a
Christmas
laugh.
party from that, innit?
12%, somebody's having a joke there. So yeah, we're just going to talk about the pricing, the seating arrangements. Obviously, we'll talk about MK and what they did last year. If we could improve it, what we'd do, what we shouldn't change, that sort of thing. So we'll get straight into the pricing. I think that's going to be the biggest one. Obviously, we've mentioned the price of hockey, following hockey, getting kids into hockey in the past few weeks, and the costs are rising. It's already quite a substantial fee. So for an adult, like you say, it's going to be about £85.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive doing it, especially if you're trying to take a family there.
This is it.
Hotels, and we mentioned before, didn't we, the cost of them, and you look at the availability of hotels now, and the cost of them. They know what's going on. They tend to go up, don't they, in price a bit. Yeah, it's worth paying it. Obviously, you get your money's worth, don't you, over the 2 days. But
I think that that depends on if you're following a team. If you're following your team, you obviously want them to get to the last game and obviously realistically win it. But if your team goes out first game of the weekend and you're no longer involved, it's a bit of a pill to swallow, isn't it, really, that you just dropped all that money. And I know it's a big chance. You can never guarantee anything on the weekend. That's what the sport is. But it is a bit of you're taking the family along, and all of a sudden your team's out. The kids get a bit bored because they aren't watching their team and the players they love.
Yeah. You want non-refundable on booking.com and getting all the forums to sell your ticket if you don't get there.
Yeah.
Which is what MK did last year, ironically, wasn't it?
It was on every Facebook forum, I think.
Yeah,
so there was
yeah,
flogging
yeah.
tickets left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Sorry, we absolutely bottled it. Anyone want to buy a ticket?
So what do you think about them, Rossy? Obviously the price and structure of it.
Well, you said yourself that you was about adults' prices being really high, which will probably deter the kids taking the kids and stuff. And actually, that's happened around us. So yesterday at the game, I was like throwing it out there with people that we sit around, and we've got like quite a nice family that we talk to in front of us, haven't we? And actually, the parents are the only ones that are going out of that Fav family.
All right. Okay.
And I don't know whether that's for other circumstances, but you know, there's a chance there that you could throw in the fact that they're having to pay all that money for the extra seats and extra tickets and the extra rooms and things like that. You know, it's not cheap, is it?
It is going to be sort of the price of a season ticket, isn't it? Really, like what did we pay? $450 for a Seahawks ticket.
Yeah.
You know,
For
like
it's £350 or something like that.
It's the cost of a season
easy.
ticket. So you got to think, is it realistically worth it?
Yeah.
As much as it is a good weekend, obviously you lads went last year. I've been.
We can't take away from
prior.
the weekend last week, and it was really enjoyable. Wasn't it? It was our first commentary playoff weekend. We're obviously quite new to the sport in terms of, you know, attending and all these things and stuff. And it was a really good weekend, but in the same breath as I can understand if you're a Solway fan and you're against the top three, you know, you've not got a great chance of going all the way. It's weighing up that. Am I going to travel 200, 300 miles and 8-hour trip to go get battered in the first game, and
also like tickets coming out in February and you're just recovering from Christmas.
That's
that is a good point. Yeah, I mean it is difficult because, you know, I'll throw it straight back at you. When would you sell them then?
Well, if they're in April, there's not. March is probably a bit too.
You're pushing it close, aren't you? Really?
Yeah.
It's like you say, I think it's like last weekend in March the playoffs would start.
I was gonna say this is the thing, innit? If you don't sell them now, you want people to buy them, not knowing that they're potentially not going to playoffs. You want everyone to just buy them, and you think, well, I've got my tickets anyway, so I'm gonna go. If you push,
Milton Keynes.
well, it's a joke. It's a joke, right?
There's a point here, isn't there? Quirky floorboss.
But yeah, you want to get your tickets out as soon as possible because you want everybody to buy into it. If you know your team's not going, then you're going to end up practically like a weekend venue in it, where it's one team against the other, or you've got 4 teams in there. And
in terms of the current table as well, you know, like we say every week, don't we? It's pretty even. The teams that are below 8th place still have a chance. So actually, it's quite smart from Planet Ice and those who are arranging it to sort of release it at this point when your team's still got a chance. You know, it's not the worst idea in the world.
No, I mean,
rather than like being dead and buried and being like, well, why am I going to do that massive trip? You know, like Solway, for example, they're in 8th now. All the Solway fans are going to buy tickets. What if they drop off a little bit? Then you've got pretty much a whole block that are going to be like stuff that I'm not going to travel all that way.
But we've also mentioned obviously the Bees have had 3 great results against the top sides in the league, so it just proves that any side can beat anybody.
Yeah,
with a big incentive of getting to the weekend.
Yeah, so that's
a
not
team might
taking
pull out big
Solway.
results.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, that it's not necessarily the pricing of the ticket. It's, you want to actually get there. So you've got to talk about the fairness of the allocation of the seats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't ever really remember it being on a bank holiday weekend. It's on Easter weekend.
It wasn't last time.
Yeah.
It wasn't last year.
So the fact it's a bank holiday, the Friday and the Monday could be a positive and negative on this event for me. I mean, people might go down early with being bank holiday Friday, no work for a lot of people. Get down there and get on it earlier.
We went after work last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we actually drove home on the Sunday night. We're all at work on Monday morning, weren't we?
Yeah.
That was a killer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a saving grace, but on the flip side, people probably already sorted out maybe a little weekend getaway over that Easter period anyway, and they think, well, we're not going to bin that off to go and watch the playoff weekend, so I can see it working both ways, to be honest. But coming back to obviously the allocation of the seats, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, MK, like they usually get they've got a good fan base, get quite a lot of supporters, and they tend to get the bulk of the seats in there. And
am I right in saying that I've seen that have got 2 blocks?
I think they get 2 blocks.
Might not be the case, but I'm about 90% sure that they've got 2 blocks this year.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Sort of the more
favourable.
I was going to say premium sort of seating and the bigger areas and the better views do go to the sort of top 4 or 5 clubs in the league. That's usually the case. Obviously, we're expecting to sell them out more because we're expected to go. Obviously, that didn't work in the case of Milton Keynes last year because obviously they didn't make it, so they had all those tickets. They were buying other teams' allocated seats.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Like,
There were people in our block with MK shirts on and stuff, weren't there?
yeah, and like I understand if you want to get there, you try and get there by any means necessary, but it's not fair. Like a lot of I would be annoyed if I didn't get a ticket, considering I pay for a season pass and I go to every game religiously, and having the legs swiped from under you
100%.
and not getting a ticket. So like, how do you make that fair? You mentioned, didn't you, about potentially?
Yeah, I think that we should get this like back to the clubs, so the clubs should sell on behalf of Planet Ice, in my opinion.
That's a
So
good idea.
in terms of us, it would go back to the Seahawks, and the Seahawks would sell the tickets on behalf of. So it should firstly go to season pass holders of Seahawks.
Yeah.
You know, this should be aimed at the people who are there every single week. The likes of us who have been to every single home game. Right, you've been to every single home game. Would you like first refusal on, you know, a Coventry playoff?
Yeah.
It's like anything, isn't it? We're doing a pre-sale for season pass, 48 hours, get your ticket, general sale on this day.
Yeah.
And then
Planet Ice are still pocketing the money, aren't they?
Yeah,
You
it
know,
makes no
it's-
odds to them,
no,
realistically,
definitely
does it?
not,
No. And then I think I then mentioned while we was not recording the fact that I would then look at potentially doing a smaller amount of games. So if you've got, because we do it all through an online platform now and we get a receipt, don't we?
Yeah.
If you can prove you went to 5 games in the season, 10 games, then you get the next refusal after all the season tickets have been out.
Yeah.
And I think in that way, other teams' fans can't buy because they wouldn't be able to prove they've been to so many games. They would be bottom of the barrel on refusal of a club's ticket allocation. I think that would work a lot better.
Yeah, but then obviously going into our talking point last week or the week before when we was talking about how you get more people in the sport, sort of ring fencing it then, aren't you? You know, you maybe it's not always a bad thing that you've got new people going into such a big weekend.
For me, I understand what you're saying, but the playoff weekend alone should not be the event that we want people to come down to. We want people in the team's rink. We want every rink around the country to have record attendances, not just Coventry.
Yeah.
You know, that isn't even a rink that's in our league, it's Elite League.
Yeah.
We want our rinks filling out every
Fans
week.
experience.
And that's why we want people to come in first.
Yeah.
I fully appreciate what you're saying, but I would rather, like, say, the local teams are supported first with the new fans, and then if they get into it, then by all means get yourselves down to Coventry and have a different experience.
I was just looking at that obviously from a sporting point of view, personal point of view. I'd much prefer to be allocated a seat straight away and first refusal on the ticket.
Definitely.
It's one of the things that, I mean, we know obviously the ticket's coming live this week.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
So,
Yeah.
So there's going to be, you know, it's a free for all, isn't it? You get on, you get your time slot,
Funnily
you book
enough-
your tickets as quick
Funnily
as you
enough,
can.
actually, they're getting released at different times.
Yeah,
Each
yeah.
team's getting released at different times, so I think ours might be like 10 o'clock, and then the next team's 12 o'clock, and then ironically, guess who are last?
Milton Keynes.
Is that teach me a lesson?
Well, you know,
I think
Yeah,
I think it was quite public what had happened last year, and maybe it is a way of just trying to, you know, shut them down a little bit from what happened last year. I mean, it still doesn't stop them.
But
buying
how
other-
does it?
other
How
seats,
I was
though,
going to
does it?
say, how does it work though? Because you can't. What do you go and say? Oh, I'm a Milton Keynes supporter. Well, all right. Well, you can't buy a ticket.
prove it.
Yeah, I'm a Hull supporter. Yeah, well, go through at 10 o'clock. You can go buy a ticket. Like, is it that easy?
Well-
This is why I think you're right. Like, in some way, it needs police. I'm not sure how much admin's going to be involved in that, but surely
alright.
you just take a team's data and go, okay, you've got this many season ticket holders. Just ping them an email.
I was going to say, what if instead of the clubs actually taking hold of this, so every Seahawks fan that's a season ticket holder would get a unique code that they put in?
Yeah.
pre-sale again kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's less admin to worry about from the club side. It would just be due to you being a season pass holder, your unique code to buy a Coventry playoff ticket. Obviously, first come first, because they might sell out still.
Yeah.
But your code is there to make sure you are with other Hull fans, so there isn't others, getting in there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. To be honest, I'm excited to go. I'm not looking forward to the admin involved in actually getting a ticket. So
We'll all be at the laptops tomorrow morning, won't we?
yeah, where's an Oasis tickets? Jesus.
You said that, we had that with Coldplay tickets.
Yeah, well,
Didn't have a chance.
and now we're having it with Seahawks. I mean, come on
I
a
know where
break.
I'd rather go. Coldplay.
How do we move on from here then? So we've obviously discussed how we feel it should be done. It'd be interesting to know what the fans' perspective is on this. So, drop us a comment as usual, guys. Let us know what you think. If you haven't been to a hockey weekend and you're wondering what's involved in actually booking the tickets, I would do your research. It's gonna be difficult, and if there are some tickets available after the initial sale release, make sure you get on it as quick as you can.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, if you're going to go, if you haven't already, I'd look at your hotel first, because they will take up a large proportion of your budget if you're going to go.
Yeah.
If pointless ordering a ticket if you haven't got somewhere to crash out.
It's not cheap.
No, it ain't. But the experience is amazing.
Unbelievable,
So,
yeah, definitely.
I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah.
You get your hockey's worth, don't you, in the days?
Oh, yeah.
man?
Absolutely.
WrestleMania of hockey for the NIHL National Division.
So, yeah, we'll leave it there. Like Brad said, we would obviously like to hear your thoughts on this and opinions, and tell us what you found if you've ever been to the playoff weekend before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we wish everybody luck who wants to get tickets, and we hope you do get the tickets and you get to go.
Yeah, and we hope we'll see you there.
And now we're going to move on to the upcoming week's fixtures, starting with a Thursday night game. Bit of an unusual one. So Thursday night, we have Peterborough Phantoms and the Bees.
Yeah.
My team.
The Berkshire Bees, eh?
The Berkshire Bees.
The Berkshire Bees.
For context, we've still just been arguing about this for the last 5 minutes.
You didn't want to say it there, did you?
I was like, do I give him this one? I was like, yeah.
Just say the Bees. Just say the Bees.
The Bees. Just the Bees.
Yeah, could be an interesting one, this. We've talked about the Bees' results recently. Are they going to play up or play down?
It's an interesting one. I'm going to go for the Bees on this one, obviously.
Yeah. Supposing Plum Lash, you're going to have to play up anyway, aren't you? I'm sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke again. I'm just trying to wind him up.
You're not winding me up. You're upsetting our viewers.
Well, you'll go for it.
Think smarter.
What are you saying then?
It'll be a tight one. Obviously, Peterborough's results wasn't great this past weekend. I mentioned obviously the goals they're conceding, so
It's true.
there's a chance there for the Bees.
There is.
I hope it comes through for them.
Yeah. You know what? I'll go against them and go Peterborough.
Yeah, of course you will.
You know what? I thought you were going to back the Bees then, and I was going to go the other way. I'm going to back the Phantoms. I think at home ice, you said that it takes quite a while to get from Berkshire
Yeah.
to Peterborough.
I didn't say that. You said that. I corrected you.
But in all seriousness, Phantoms when they came to us the other week, Seahawks, I thought they looked quite good. You got the likes of Luke Ferrara and people like that in the team, Salem. I back the Phantoms.
Yeah, no. All jokes aside, though, it should be a good game. I think both teams can play well, and they've both shown that they've got it in them. Probably more so the Bees than Peterborough. So
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. So we're going to Saturday's fixtures, the 8th of Feb. First game is the Hull Seahawks and Romford Raiders. So another Saturday game for us.
Yeah, and we talked about this, didn't we? You mentioned about Romford going under the radar.
Yep.
And they didn't.
4-point weekend
Yeah.
last weekend.
Yeah, there's quite possible there. We can't write this team off. We can't go into it thinking, well, we can pick up another 2 relatively easy points.
Absolutely.
No, it's not going to happen. So, got to go in with your A game. I mean, I'm obviously going to back us, but
I think it's a
don't think
must-win
it'll be
game.
easy.
I know that sounds like real dramatic, but in terms of keeping that points gap over those behind us, it is a must-win game. Which I know every game is classed as a must-win game, but not to be disrespectful. But when you look at the fixtures we've had in the past few weeks, you'd expect us to go there and really give it something.
Yeah. But then you've got to actually deliver on your promise, haven't you?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, are we all in agreement then? Seahawks?
Seahawks.
Although they've got a few good players, obviously they've more than a few good players. Sean Miller, he's up there anyway with the statistics.
Yeah, he is.
Like you said, as I was going to say the same thing. This is a must-win game. This.
Yeah.
If we don't win, then we're going to fall away.
Yeah.
And the fourth horse is going to be put down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Sorry to any vegans. Moving on then, Swindon Wildcats, Solway Sharks.
Yeah, so we saw Solway get pummeled by Milton Keynes last weekend, 8-0. I honestly think it'll go similar again, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, Swindon are obviously coming off the back of a pretty tough weekend, so got a point to prove. We'll better to prove it then against Solway. Show them what you're about.
Yeah, what do you think?
Gotta be Swindon. after a 1 point weekend, like you said, they'll be chomping at the bit for this.
Yeah, definitely. So unanimous against Swindon.
Yeah.
Okay, on Saturday, Bees, Telford.
Big game, that one. Tough one. You know, Telford have had a good weekend again, as we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of our stars of the week.
Yeah.
It's a Telford Larker. So
Yeah.
again, it could go either way. You know, I do love the Bees. I would like them obviously to win that, but I've just got a weird feeling like the Telford Tigers might take that one.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I've got Telford as well. Again, it's nothing against the Bees, but I just think they show a lot of grit and determination when they turn up. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be a whitewash, but I do think it'll probably be Telford coming away with the 2 points there.
Yeah. You know what? I know I've said that the Phantoms are going to win, but actually, this is the one fixture I was looking for to see who the Bees have got at home. I back the Bees at home. Look at the results speak for themselves, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, they've had some really good results there. I don't know whether their rink's quite small or, you know, they just do something there where they seem to just drag out points. And against a team like Telford who are around them in the league, I think Berkshire might do it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to back Berkshire.
All right.
And the big game.
I know.
The big game on the Saturday. This one is monumental.
Sauce.
Absolutely unbelievable. Milton Keynes, Leeds Knights. A point in it.
Season defining.
This is a big moment, this.
Either Milton Keynes take a nice little cushion gap. So what would that be? 3 point gap?
3 point lead, yeah.
I mean, they could drop a game and still have the lead on the title.
Yeah.
Or the Leeds retake the leading spot.
This is a double header.
Well, it's a double header, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a big. This is double header of the weekend. This.
Do we just look at the normal, you take your home ice and hope you can get something on the road? Is that going to be the mainstay?
2 points aren't enough for these teams.
I don't think Tim Wallace would mind that, you know.
For me personally, if I was the coach of one of those teams, I think if you win one, you lose one, everything stays the same. I'd be happy.
Yeah, if you can get 2 points at home and drag a point out of the castle, I'd be on the bus singing, mate. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
Well, you're backing on the Saturday.
Oh
mate.
God, it's tough, isn't it?
I'm just going to go straight at Leeds because I'm not being funny out. And I know I've said to you two off camera earlier, but I've got a real distaste for Milton Keynes at the minute.
After Sunday.
Yeah, I just don't like some of the stuff they was doing. They've got under my skin a bit. I'm a sore loser, I don't care. But yeah, I'm going to go Leeds Knights, and a part of me hopes it's embarrassing as well for them.
see, I'm going to go MK. After watching them last night, there was a tough team to beat,
But look how they sort of fell off against Hull, and we managed to get back in the game. And if you do that to the likes of Leeds,
that's a key question. Can you do that against Leeds?
Well, we've done it to Leeds.
No. What I'm saying is, can you afford to be complacent?
Switch off.
Can you afford to give Leeds a period?
Yeah.
Can you afford to
No.
give Leeds a second period?
No.
I don't think so. Because
I
if
don't
you've
think
got
so.
someone between the sticks like Gozzi, who can sort of help you out in the first and the third, and you really let Leeds go at you in that second period.
I don't know. I think the home game is going to be key for both of these teams, to be honest. I just...
Father, Leeds.
Oh.
All right, go MK. Kids will be
You've
wearing
seen it.
past the shells for shoes.
For the record, I'm also going to back Leeds.
Okay. Yeah.
Should be on him then.
Yeah.
Get some money out of it. Big spender over here.
So moving on then. Sunday fixtures now for Feb. Starting with the Bristol Pitbulls and the Solway Sharks.
Yeah, so obviously we mentioned Solway have got obviously Swindon on the Saturday, and we're expecting Solway to unfortunately get a bit of a pummel in there. A bit more of a closer to home game in terms of obviously in the table.
But playing Swindon the night before, will that just raise their standards coming into that game, you know?
It could go two ways really.
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, if you took a right beating against Swindon.
Yeah, but if you're taking that much of a beating, do you then stop working as hard? I know that sounds bad.
That's what I mean.
You're not exerting as much energy because
Yeah.
like, do you know what, we've lost this?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Save yourselves for the next
Swindon
night.
game.
Yeah. Save yourselves for
sorry.
that game against Bristol and try and get some out of that, because like you say, playing them top three teams, you know, they're almost like a free hit. Like say,
Yeah.
like the Bees have gone and got results, and they're like, whoa, hang on,
Definitely.
they're massive results, but you never expect them.
Yeah. Tough one.
Solway.
Yeah, Solway.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to back the Bulldogs. Because I
Go
saw
Bulldogs.
this guy's got... I want to go Mitch Walasinski or something. I think... I apologise if I got that wrong. We saw the clip of his goal, didn't we?
Yeah.
A little forward, backwards. They're in a spot now where they need to start picking up wins. And if I'm the Bristol coach at home and I see Solway after their results recently, this is one where I'm pointing to that whiteboard and I'm saying this is the game where we need 2 points.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know,
I think that's fair.
what's the next result that we're going to get?
Yeah, I like your rationale. Still going to go Solway, but
Fair enough.
So Leeds Knights, MK at home. I'm going to flip it now. I do think the home
1-1. That's the way I see it. You know, I think it would probably, as long as you defend your home ice, I think that's the key thing for this weekend.
So I'll take your father on the Saturday and give you it back for the
If you don't mind, mate, that'd be great.
You're even. I'm going to be real bold here, and I'm going to say it's a 4-point weekend for Leeds. Yeah.
I'd like to.
I know that's a bold statement, but what you just said has really stuck with me, and I thought, if Gospel has another weekend like he did this week, you know.
But he does most weekends,
and
though.
I'm not being funny. We're talking about Gozzy, but look at the defence. They're no pushovers, Leeds, and the forward lines. You've got the like of Kieran Brown and you know all the other guys.
Barron,
Howlett.
having a good season as well.
You know, it's not. They're no pushovers, these lot, and I do think that.
But it's a mentality thing, and how many times have Leeds been there and won it?
That's exactly it. Yeah. They're almost like that Man City team, aren't they? Where like. They can just control games.
I think actually the Man City of the league.
Sorry, big Liverpool fan over there, innit?
Just MK, the one spending money. So.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. It's going to be great watching, innit?
I almost wish we didn't have a game this weekend so I could watch them.
Yeah,
that'd be absolutely unreal to watch both of those.
Yeah. If you want to send us any clips if something happens, feel free to.
Or link to the stream, you know. we have our mobiles at the game, you know.
Yeah. So I'm going Leeds. You're going Leeds. No, you're going MK.
We're going to go over MK
You're
as much
going
as
Leeds.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Romford Raiders, Sheffield Steel Dogs.
Another tough one to call, in my opinion. Obviously, we've just talked about Romford. Their great weekend. They've obviously got us.
Yeah.
How's that going to go? We don't know. Obviously, we would back our side, but we know it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah. It's in Romford as well, isn't it?
True.
Yeah, and we've mentioned about Sheffield. I know it was a cup final for them against us, and they give us a game, but you know they've struggled in other games.
Yeah.
It's quite an hard one to call that. I would probably just go Sheffield if I'm honest.
See, I don't know. I feel like I'd just go Romford.
One thing for me in terms of this fixture is one thing I've noticed is this is Sheffield's first game of the weekend, this. And also, one thing that I've noticed about Sheffield is personnel. So we've spoke previously about Bjarkli Nordstrom, haven't we?
Yeah.
He went with the Steel Dogs this weekend.
It was with Steelers.
Yeah, it was with Steelers.
He was with Steelers and Ulrich came down. Now, if they had Bjarkli Nordstrom this weekend, could their fixtures have been a bit different? So I think really with these lot, they've got a couple of 2 ways, haven't they? Correct me if I'm wrong. They've got
a couple.
Well,
you're being fucking generous with a couple.
True. Very true.
Half the squad, innit?
Yeah. Well, that's their whole thing, isn't it? Now,
Yeah.
you know, like promoting that step up to the elite league, but. It really depends. Steel Dogs are a real weird one because if they come with all the full squad where they've got these 2 ways who are third and fourth line for Steelers and coming down to play for these where they're just swinging it about like look at Ulrich, he got a couple of points against us, didn't he? And assists and maybe a goal.
I think,
you know what I mean? If they've got the team there, Steel Dogs, I think.
if
first game of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Romford.
Fair.
Okay.
Just a little bit. So you two Sheffield, me Romford.
Don't get me wrong, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Raiders. You know, when it comes to the final and stuff against Leeds, I like an underdog. I really hope they do it, but with having us the day before and then Steel Dogs being fresh and if they've got plenty of players.
Yeah, being interested in one.
Okay.
Then Peterborough Phantoms, Hull Seahawks.
It's a big one for us. I know, we keep saying big games, but this one is a team that is right on our behind.
Yeah.
I'm going to describe this game in one word. This is sticky. And that's not in any weird way. This is a sticky game because this is a real banana skin of a game. You've got to be really careful against Peterborough. If you give them an inch like we did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it's much like I described it as like a bigger game for like when Hull was against MK this weekend just gone, and I think it's the same again for Peterborough. I think they need the win more than we do. If I'm completely honest.
Now that we're sort of sitting pretty in like around the 4th and 5th place, you know.
If we open a bigger gap on them,
Swindon, whereas they want a fifth one would be more favourable for them than maybe like 6th or 7th when it comes to the final standings. I know what you mean there.
I'm not
I
sure.
think it is.
I think if we've got a right or wrong, they took it to us at our gaff. We've got to take it to them at theirs. So.
Don't get me wrong. In terms of Seahawks, I'll probably back them in this game just because I think that if we get a good win against Raiders the night before, I think Matty will be back. They'll be bang up for it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think Matty would rest on his laurels there.
No.
We beat, the Raiders. Right, we go again.
reset, but we're at it here. Yeah.
Good result, lads,
Yeah,
but don't
yeah.
switch off.
Yeah.
We go again.
Yeah.
We need a 4-point weekend.
Nothing less than a 4-point weekend.
Yes,
It's
it
good
has to be
enough,
for
is
me.
it? So.
Honestly, it has to be.
Right then, Telford Tigers, Berkshire Bees.
Second
rounded up,
double header.
yeah, rounding up the weekend.
I think you've got to do the whole, home ice thing again for me.
It's a big thing, isn't it? It's a big thing. That having that home crowd behind you just
Makes a massive difference.
We saw it last night. Last night when we obviously against MKC and when we managed to get them goals, the crowd just erupted, and then we went on and managed to score a few more. It just when you think it's gone and done, the crowd get you going again, don't they? So I do think it's going to come into play. I agree with you.
Yeah. One apiece over the weekend for me.
I think after 3 games in 4 days, I think it's going to catch up. I know Bees at some points this season have been short benched as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
How long does the car go until the wheels fall off?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a comfortable win for Telford, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be comfortable, but I do think Telford will win it. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fair enough.
That concludes our look at the fixtures for the upcoming week. Thanks for watching once again at the end of the episode. Please continue to like, share, comment, whatever it is you want to do. Please do it. We're really loving doing this at the moment. We're starting to get the momentum and we're loving all the respect and love and comments we're getting.
Yeah,
Anything from you guys?
No, much appreciated, guys. Keep it coming.
Yeah, big thanks for joining in with us, guys, tuning in to watch. Shall we sprinkle it in? There's things to come. So we need those subscriptions and the interactions with us because
You don't want to miss what's coming. Definitely not.
The oven's starting to cook, boys, isn't it? Without saying too much.
He can't help
Without saying
himself,
too
can
much.
he?
It's got to be said, hasn't it? Come on, But yeah, like I say, we like these guys. Thank you very much for joining in, guys. We really appreciate it, don't we? The interaction's been brilliant, so keep that coming.
Cheers.